Looking at this slice from the brain, we can review our primary or somatic motor cortex. This is located just in front of the central sulcus on the precentral gyrus of the frontal lobe, and it contains pyramidal cells. These pyramidal cells are large neurons, and these are upper motor neurons, would be another name for these pyramidal cells. We could call them upper motor neurons. And this allows for conscious control of our precise, skilled skeletal muscle movements. These pyramidal cells, their axons, are part of the pyramidal or corticospinal tract. Corticospinal meaning it moves from the cortex to the spinal cord. And this is formed by long axons that move into the spinal cord. And this contains somatotopy. Somatotopy means that all of our muscles and all of our components, muscular components of our body, can be mapped to this region, this slice of the primary motor cortex. Our motor homunculi are what we're seeing here. It's this upside down caricature that represents a contralateral motor innervation of body regions. For instance, this is going to be the right side of our brain, right? The left side of our brain. So if I'm stimulating this area here, which is associated with the thumb, because I'm stimulating the right side of the brain, it's actually going to control my left thumb because it's contralateral innervation. The premotor cortex helps to plan movements. So we were in the primary motor cortex where our pyramidal cells are. The premotor cortex in front of that region helps us to plan movements. It's kind of our staging area for any skilled motor activities. And it can also control things that are learned, repetitious, or patterned motor skills. It can also coordinate simultaneous or sequential actions and controls voluntary actions that depend on some type of sensory feedback, for instance. Moving into Broca's area is typically present in one area, one hemisphere, almost always the left, but not always. And we could see this, remember, kind of in this region. This is Broca's area. But it's almost always the left side that we see Broca's area more robust. Doesn't have to be. And this is our motor speech area that's going to be directing the muscles for me to be able to lecture to you in this lecture right now. It's helping with planning speech and the voluntary motor activities that utilize speech. There's also an area called the frontal eye field, which you can see here. And this is what's controlling voluntary eye movements, helping move eyes from side to side when reading or looking at something or using focused concentration. Now, if we move to the sensory areas of the cerebral cortex, there are specific regions of the cortex that help perceive, make us consciously aware of certain sensory information. Our somatosensory cortex, or primary somatosensory cortex, is located right behind that sulcus, and it can help with perceiving sensory information from all over the body, like touch, pain, temperature, and body position. There are then also special sensory areas that perceive sensory information from our specific sensory organs, our eyes, our nose, and our mouth, and our ears. And we can kind of see some of those areas here, right? We have an area for hearing and auditory association in the primary auditory cortex. We have areas for vision in the occiput, primary visual cortex, and association area. We have areas for taste in the insula, the gustatory cortex, and we have areas for equilibrium, the vestibular cortex, also in the insula. And then we have this general region for somatic sensation. All of these areas you'll see, for the most part, have a primary and an association version. The primary is the sensory area that receives the information directly from ascending pathways from our sensory receptors in our body. And the association area is sensory areas that are processing information that are relayed from the primary areas, making kind of sense of it and putting it into appropriate context. So looking then at our primary somatosensory cortex, we're now looking at this blue side that took a chunk out of the left side of the brain. This is located in the post-central gyri of the parietal lobe, and it receives information, sensory information from the skin and from proprioceptors in our skeletal muscles, our joints, and our tendons. And it's capable of even doing spatial discrimination, identifying the region of the body that's being stimulated thanks to a homunculus, again, that is located on the primary somatosensory cortex. So this is the somatosensory homunculus. Very similar but different structures are larger than the ones over here because some areas are more sensitive, have more sensory nerve endings or sensory awareness than the motor region. Then our somatosensory association cortex is posterior to the primary somatosensory cortex. And this is where we're integrating information from the primary region to understand what happened or what's going on. And it can determine the size, the texture, and the relationship of the parts of objects that are being felt. This is again kind of showing the different functional and structural areas of the cerebral cortex as a whole. This is a slice down the middle of the brain. We'll stop here. When we come back, we'll look at some basal ganglia.